Welcome to this video on combinational circuits, focusing on multiplexers. In this video, we'll be talking about multiplexers and then components of multiplexers. We'll also talk about some types of multiplexers, and then focus a little on 4-to-1 multiplexers and some little applications on multiplexers. Introduction to multiplexers. When we talk about multiplexers, a multiplexer is a combinational circuit that selects one input from multiple data inputs and sends it to a single output line based on control signal. It functions just like an electrical switch, and it also allows only one input at a time. So basically, we are saying that a multiplexer receives several inputs, and then with these several inputs, it just sends one to its output signal or the output line based on the control signal. Multiplexer can also be called marks. So as the video progresses, you'll be seeing a lot of marks in the video. Alright. So some few components of multiplexers. We have one data input. These are the multiple input lines carrying different data signals. And with these data signals, there's only one of them that will be selected at a time. They are often denoted by I0, I1, I2 to the number of inputs. And then the next thing is selection line. Selection line can also be called control input. This is what it determines the output that will be passed. This is what determines the input that will be passed to the output based on its control signal. And then the number of selection lines also depends on the number of inputs. It's also usually denoted by S0, S1, S2. Yes, as I said, the number of selection lines depends on the number of inputs. So to calculate for the number of selection lines, to calculate for the number of input lines, you can use this formula. For example, for n selection lines, you can get 2 exponents n inputs. As I made an example here, that if you have 2 selection lines, that means you choose among 4 inputs. That's 2 exponent 2. Alright. And then the next component is output line. This is the signal output where the selected signal is sent to. So the process is that the data inputs, the selection line selects one data input from the several inputs available, and then it will send the signal to the output line. In this slide, we're talking about some types of multiplexers. There are a few other types of multiplexers, but in this video, we're talking about the most common ones, which is 2-to-1 max, 4-to-1 max, 8-to-1 max, 16-to-1 max. The 2-to-1 max means it has 2 inputs with one output signal, and then 4-to-1 is also having 4 inputs, 8-to-1 also has 8 inputs, 16 also has 16 inputs. Alright, so in this slide we'll be talking about, we'll be illustrating how the complexes work. So we'll use the 4-to-1 max as an example to know how the multiplexers works. So here you'll see that in this diagram, this is our 4-to-1 max, and then the table here is the truth table for this diagram. So as you can see that we have 4 inputs, which is denoted I0, I1, I2, I3, and then the selection lines is also S0, S1. Then we have our output, which is Y. So how this thing works is that based on the value of the selection lines, that's what it will determine the input that it will be selected or directed to the output line. So in this table, for the first row, we can see that when S0 is 0 and then S1 is 1, sorry about that. When S0 is 0 and then S1 is also 0, that means it will select the first input, which is I0. And when S0 is 0 and then S1 is 1, that means it will select the second input, which is I1. When S0 is 1 and then S1 is 0, it will select the third input, which is I2, to the output Y. And also this same applies when S1 is 1 and then S0 is also 1. It will select the fourth input, which is I3, to the output. So the last thing I would like to talk about is the application of multiplexers. So first, multiplexers are used to switch between audio inputs. Multiplexers are used in devices to switch between inputs. Yes, example, in audio systems, a multiplexer can switch between input sources like the microphone, the AUX, or even Bluetooth. And then it's also used in TV controls. Multi-complexers can also be found in TV controls. Inside the TV controller, you can see there's a multiplexer that helps to choose what action the remote should perform based on what you press. Like if you press the change button, it will change channel button, it will change the channel. If you press an increase volume, it will also increase the volume. That means it's taking one signal at a time. And then also helps in routing data communication. That's the second application. It helps in routing data communication. That's it. It sends one out of several signals through a single communication line. This also helps to save bandwidth. Right, so thank you. This is the end.